May 2015 A2NewTech. The students have left Ann Arbor. We can finally go and get dollar tacos or beers. We love the students, but it is nice to be able to go out to Bill's Beer Garden and actually be able to get a table. Who here has never been to A2NewTech before? Is this the first A2NewTech for anyone? Awesome, yeah. Just a quick introduction. My name is Zach. I'm your host. I work here in Ann Arbor at a company called Olark. We put live chat on websites. We're just doing sales support, that sort of thing. The format of the event, yeah, thanks. Got some Olark fans out there. The format of the event is pretty straightforward. Every month we have 4 or 5 presenters present for 5 minutes, followed by a 5-minute audience Q&A. So there's some chance for you to learn about the company, and then a chance to sort of ask them questions or clarify. So as the presentations are going along, if you have questions, make sure you remember them for the Q&A period. Another nice feature of A2NewTech is that in between the presentations, we have some time for community announcements. And so if anyone is hiring, if there's any cool upcoming events, either for the hackers in the crowd or for the hustlers, please let us know. And so we'll have some time between the presentations to announce that as well. What else is going on? A whole bunch of stuff is happening in June, but I don't think I'm going to stall for much longer. Do you guys want to come and present? Yeah. So please welcome our first company presenting tonight, Rudder.
Hey guys, great to be here. It's my second New Tech meetup, so really excited about the community. We're here today to talk about our app that we've been developing, but before we get into that, let's give you a quick background about ourselves. My name is Steve Coffey. I'm a mobile engineer over at Barracuda Networks, so sorry if anybody here is an Arbor Networks person. It's all love.
And I'm Hannah Dow. I'm a product and user interface designer.
Yeah, so basically what Rudder is it's an app to help you walk safer at night.
It's never particularly pleasant to walk home in the dark, but it is something that many of us experience on a daily basis. I encountered this firsthand when I was an undergrad here at the University of Michigan, and it became very clear to me that walking during the day is just very different from that at night. And while I was wishing for something that would help to guide me away from darker residential streets that I was using to get home, I thought of Rudder, and I realized that it's times like these when Rudder can really make a difference.
Great, so right now Rudder is an iOS app. We have an Android app that will be coming soon. We've been working on Rudder for about a year now. We're currently finishing up a beta cycle. Basically, the iOS app for Rudder will help you find well-lit routes from point A to point B, and it'll give you turn-by-turn navigation and sort of a sense of how well lit your route is while you're walking home. So basically, I can give you guys a quick demo of how it works. So when you launch the app, it will tell you where you are. Right now we're in South Hall. So we'll zoom out a little bit. Maybe we want to go to, say, the Michigan Union. It's almost Friday, so we'll hit up UMix. Go. Rudder will find us a route. Up here we have sort of a little gauge. Rudder's telling us, okay, your route is pretty well lit. It's all sort of relative. Down here we've got the start address, the end address, and then about how far we're going to walk and the time. But let's say for the sake of demonstration that I actually don't want to go to the Union. Instead I'm going to walk over to the intersection of East University and Prospect. So all I do is long tap to select my destination, and then we'll hit go, and the simulator will sort of walk us through the path. So as soon as I hit go, up here we get my destination and my estimated time of arrival. Down here we've got sort of the next turn I'm going to take, so we're going to turn left on Monroe in a second. Each one of these little arrows is a step in my path, so if I swipe up here, we sort of get all the steps. And then if I say, actually I sort of know where I'm going, I get the picture, we can cancel the route just by pulling down on the top. So fairly simple. Right now, Rudder operates on sort of a city-by-city basis. So right now we're supported in Boston, Texas, San Francisco, and then a couple cities internationally, such as Paris, France, and Vancouver, and also Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti.
We've been very fortunate to have Rudder featured in the web magazines that you see behind me, but we still need your help. We're calling on you today for support and feedback, and as we come close to our App Store release, we're really looking to spread the word of Rudder to as many people as possible and help us to gain traction in acquiring more cities across the globe. And even more importantly, we're really looking forward to building a loyal user base that has an interest in smarter nighttime travel, as well as an interest in seeing us succeed. Because without the users, without you, Rudder would just be an idea. So please join us in walking the walk with Rudder, your city nightlife.
Yeah, so if you guys want to sign up for the beta or sign up for our newsletter, as we prep for launch in the next few weeks, go to our website, walkrudder.com, sign up for the newsletter, and we'll keep you posted as we gear up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What's your revenue model?
So that's a good question. Something that we have been asking ourselves a lot lately, as any brand new startup does. So right now, that's sort of vague. We have a lot of opportunities in sort of the big data space. We can, say we have 10,000 users in the city of Ann Arbor. That could be very, very useful to, say, a city planner who wants to, use this information about where people are walking at night to better plan, sidewalks and infrastructure projects that may be coming up. Likewise, it might be useful for local businesses to know, say, okay, a lot of people are walking down State Street at this time of night. We can really target, it would be great to have like a hot dog stand. So we've sort of tossed around some ideas, sort of being able to provide the data that we're acquiring, obviously all anonymized, to whomever wants it. Yeah.
How do you acquire your data late?
It's a good question. So we are working with individual cities. We've reached out to, how many cities would you say?
A lot more than have responded necessarily.
Yeah.
But essentially, we have to go city by city and email them cold. Bless you. And say, this is our idea. We think that it would work fantastically in your city, especially if it's a city with, say, a high walking score. And then if the city responds well to the idea, they send us essentially a spreadsheet of X and Y coordinates of where their streetlights are located. And some of these places has also given us more information, like what kind of bulb is in there, so we know exactly, or we have a better idea of even how bright that specific light is going to be. So it's a little bit of a longer process since we're going city by city, but that's the best way we found so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How many users do you have in Ann Arbor?
So we, like I said, just sort of coming to the end of our beta cycle, we've got, I think, 160 users total, so not a ton, and I'm not exactly sure how many of those are in Ann Arbor or in other cities. So, hard to say. Yeah.
So basically, this is a map, a way of navigating using the most city lights that are on?
Right, exactly. So, for example, if I were walking from here to my house, it might take me a different route than, say, Google Maps would take me, right? Because the way Google Maps might take me is probably the fastest, but not necessarily the most well lit. And so we're sort of prioritizing that without, at the same time, taking you, 20 minutes out of your way. The app will only take you, at most, 5 minutes out of your way.
Yeah, and that was the basic idea behind the app to begin with, is that the fastest route might not necessarily be the one that you feel the most comfortable taking.
Yeah.
Where do you see the business in 1 or even 2 years, and what KPIs will you use to, determine if you're going to go full time on this or something like that?
That's a good question. So we are really just sort of feeling it out as we go. Obviously, Hannah and I both have things going on outside of this, so it's really going to be telling in the next few weeks. Whether we pick up some traction, whether we have some more articles that give us some really good press time. I guess we'll really sort of see, is this something that is going to take off, and we should definitely invest more time in. Yeah.
Apps like Waze and GasBuddy allow users to input information about where things are located. So if someone, let's say, discovers a light that isn't noted on your app, is there a way they can submit the location of those lights?
Yes, exactly. So this also kind of ties back into how we might be able to monetize our data in the future. We've been in talks with a couple of different cities, including Seattle, and they thought that it would be great if we had a feature in the app that allowed people to actually report if a light is out or if there are areas that just need more lights in general, and then that data could actually be pushed to those cities so they have a better real-time data of what's going on with the lighting system.
Yeah.
Are you somehow tied in with the police as far as if you're tied in with the lights, and it sounds like it's a safety thing? I mean,
We are being very cautious to brand the app as a safety app because of liability reasons. We can't necessarily promise anything. We have been thinking about possibly implementing something with the police department, but we're definitely just focusing on lighting for right now because it would be very hard to decide how much that should weigh on your route if we had crimes in there as well. So because of the difficulty of predicting things like that, we haven't added any of that to the routes yet.
well, it's interesting because Al Sharpton's daughter has just sued, I believe it's the city of New York, for $5 million because she sprained her ankle. So.
Yeah. That's funny. Okay. I think that's all.
Thank you so much. Good time to mention as well that a lot of the presenters will be around after the presentations are done. So if you have further questions for them, that would be an excellent opportunity as well. For example, in my neighborhood, at one end there's a Dairy Queen, and at the other end there's an apartment complex. And so there's another effect going on where there's like a lot of people in my neighborhood eating ice cream cones at night. So I don't know, that might be an interesting layer to add on top of like light level.
Yeah.
Where the ice cream is?
Yeah, well, it has a safe feeling when people are walking up and down the street with ice cream cones. Yeah. I did want to take a brief moment to thank some of our sponsors. Our #1 sponsor is A2 Geeks. It's a really interesting organization here in Ann Arbor that's a little bit of a meta organization. It provides support for groups like Ignites Ann Arbor, A2NewTech, the Ann Arbor Mini Maker Fair, and a variety of other groups to help them find venues, publicity, and sort of organize their event. So if you're interested in hosting an event in Ann Arbor, particularly one that would appeal to the geekier community, definitely check them out. The University of Michigan Law School Entrepreneurship Clinic has very kindly provided us with this venue. And R2Vive is providing our excellent video recording and streaming services. What do you think? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Please welcome our next presenter, Pop Post.
So I want to thank Zach because I've canceled on him at least 5 times. So I'm presenting tonight, Pop Post. A little bio about me. I'm originally from Ann Arbor, Michigan. My family's here. I went to school here. But I've been in the entertainment industry for over 20 years in New York and LA. I was employee number 25 at MTV Networks. We launched Nickelodeon VH1 when I was there. And I since have worked in the last 15 years in television and film, and decided to develop something that I felt was needed. Girls Mean Business today. It's just launching because we've got to go fast. And it's not necessarily celebrity and TMZ. They're heroic maker girls, and this is a particular segment that we're really overlooking in entertainment. The powerful female consumer right now is tipping all areas of movies at the box office. Even last weekend, Mad Max was #2, Pitch Perfect was #1. Hollywood was stunned by this. So we're seeing the entertainment industry really addressing females as not a target anymore, but as a true profitable movement. So right now, the void in the marketplace, lack of quality entertainment web destinations for girls, and the pain point really is 4 pain points. Disney domination. We know what Disney does. They take different princess models and they dress them up differently, and we've got the same recycled content over and over. They do great content, but we need more variety. Trust and safety, we need to have quality entertainment. It doesn't necessarily have to be G-rated or edutainment, but it has to be something that we know it's quality and we trust it. Lack of independent choices, and then of course cultural diversity, and not just race. It's about girls doing different things other than just being princesses and vampires. So, Pop Post is a web entertainment destination creating and publishing modern stories about girls. And there's 2 vehicles that we're really keenly aware of right now. Webcomics are very powerful. So we created a webcomic. It's up on all of our social media platforms, and it's on our website. And we also created an interactive ebook that was extremely deep and very took a long time to actually create. And half of the team I'll get into is here, the other half is in LA and Italy. So demand and disruption, you can only hope for culture and technology and demand to all set up. So right now, women and girls are demanding more content, better content. Parents are demanding that for their kids. We also have delivery disruption, cable versus web. 40% of households are now on a subscription-based model, most likely Netflix, and 76% of kids aren't even watching TV at all. So, the addressable market is pretty huge. We've got about 2 billion global girls between the age of 7 and 17. And we see this expanding because in all of our test and focus groups, boys are actually resonating with a lot of our titles as well. Samurai Bike Messengers, Octavia Rocks is about a 7-year-old drummer who's a girl. And we're finding that it really is not necessarily just being pushed into a corner with girls. So the opportunity is big. The core team, it's everyone between here, LA, and Italy. John Bisger is here in Ann Arbor. He's a member of Dale Earnhardt Jr. and is one of my content creators and collaborators. But then we've got a really superstar team. We've got Harry Lynn, who was ABC's VP, Adrian Vignocci, who's at Warner Brothers and actually did Temple Run Brave and Temple Run Oz. And then Ashley Kuski, who's part of Amy Poehler's Smart Girls, which was sold last year, and Hello Giggles. And really quick, Samurai Bike Messengers, I urge you to go to Pop Post because we're giving that interactive ebook away as sort of a promotion. And it's beautiful and very interactive and for all ages. We got a lot of nice press, but discovery's tough. And we found that if we go away for 9 months or 8 months and we don't touch our fan following, it's over. So we realized ads are not the way to go. This is the way to go. Daily webcomic series. Basically, we touch our audience every single day. And we were right now setting up for 4 webcomic artists who are female telling stories through this particular model. We've got some great early traction, 25,000 likes in a matter of 2 months. It's not celebrity likes, but still for a publisher that is actually not spending any money, it's pretty good. Average like per comic that's going up anywhere from 200 to 3,000 likes on the comic. And then our website just launched 30 days ago, so we're still in very early build with that. Our interactive channels, it's going to look like this. Basically, Maker Studios right now next to YouTube is killing it. They are doing over 16 billion visitors per month, and our channels, we see that they need to be very interactive. And then finally, original content series where we can resonate with, choose which webcomics are resonating with our audience and expand it out. Monetization, I'm not going to go into. It's mostly subscription. These are the 4 target audience cultures that are doing very, very well. Smart Girls and Hello Giggles being female-oriented. Minette Media, that's our strategic partner. Once we get to our very early pre-seed raise, 150,000, we're going to engage Peter Chucky. He did the Maker Disney deal. And this is our strategic partnership and exit. Maker, Netflix, we could add Amazon Studios and Apple depending on what they do, but we know that that strategic partnership is going to want our audience. So as far as monetization is concerned, sure, we're going to make some money, but it's really about audience capture. And lastly, we're doing a little bit of a startup challenge right now, and it allows us to get into a $50,000 competition sponsored by Craigslist and 500 startups. So if you go to the website, there's a little button on the side, and if you donate, it'd be awesome.
Thank you.
There was a tab that's I think, artist forum.
I'm sorry?
Artist forum. There was a tab on your website.
Yeah, one of the things that we're going to do in that second phase is really create an interactive channel so that we have Google Hangouts, we have artists that are going to be talking to kids or want to be artists, so it's not going to be one-dimensional. It'll be very much about the interaction of that channel.
Does someone on your team create the content, or are they created by artists all over the world and submitted to you?
Well, you know, we've had a team that did the interactive ebook, and that was 8 people. Then for the webcomic, I'm actually drawing Octavia Rocks, and that's a way of really understanding weekly my audience. And there are so many amazing female webcomic artists out there that we have a line out the door as far as webcomic artists that want to be part of this actual culture and publish on Pop Post.
Do you capture email addresses of your audience?
We capture everything. We've got dashboards up and down Google.
Okay. I noticed that you said that you 70% of the people are first-time viewers and then 30% are returnees. So that means if they just return once, then that's counted as a returning. How many people are really visiting the site on a weekly basis? Or
We just launched the site right now, so our Google Analytics are very, very small compared to what we would like it to grow at. But we're noticing a couple trends that it's extremely global, that we have Asian countries, Indonesia, Philippines, Japan, which is good, but we also have the United States as well as a number 2. And 30% return versus 70% with absolutely no ad spend or advertising right now. We're pretty happy with that.
Your business is pretty different from a lot of the businesses that are here, technology businesses and your media business. Have you found any interesting, if you could give us as technology people maybe advice from Media Land, what would you say?
Advice from Media Land. Really, speak to your audience from who you are. I mean, I think one of my biggest mistakes when I thought that we would launch our digital app and then just crickets. It was really tough as far as apps are concerned. Discovery is killer. So create something that resonates on a daily basis. Go through Facebook. I mean, it's a really cheap, easy way to engage an audience, but 25,000 likes in 2 months is great. And you have to be very authentic. So if you're going to create something that's entertainment, make sure it's your story. I think that's what I really learned.
Media as a product is certainly very different than software, but I think there's some parallels too in that you are building an audience. It's a scalable product. It's not like you're sculpting something. Once you make media, you can sort of distribute it out.
Yeah.
So it is an interesting contrast, I think.
More questions?
I have a question. I'm not super familiar with the media space. One of the brands I saw up there I didn't recognize was Maker Media.
Maker Studios.
Maker Studios.
Okay, Maker Studios was created by 5 35-year-olds about 4 years ago. And what they identified was the talent base on YouTube. And so they started just shooting these little viral, snippets, and now they've got PewDiePie. So if you're into YouTube culture, I mean, this guy, there are 5 or 6 YouTube stars, and they're bigger than any star on network television. So Maker Studios just realized that this was a way to capture certain channels through YouTube, and Disney bought them for $1 billion. And right now they're saying that that's an absolute bargain.
I did have one more question, I guess, if no one else has a question. Yeah, one of the artists I saw up there I wasn't really expecting was, I think it's Katie Rice, who does Camp We Don't Watch You on Penny Arcade.
Yeah.
So Penny Arcade is, I think, traditionally a very male-oriented platform, but of course they have started expanding and having additional comic artists. So would you be working with Penny Arcade or Katie Rice specifically? Or?
Well, what I did over the summer was I reached out to Penny Arcade and I started asking some of their marketing people, and also Robert Chu is their one of, I guess he's head of marketing, why they don't have more women, because Katie Rice has got a great webcomic. It's a weekly webcomic that I like. And they said, well, because we're 99% male. And I said, do you feel like webcomics are really, ready for a female Penny Arcade? And he said, do it. So basically what we're doing is we're strategically marketing Katie Rice, who will come over to Pop Post as a cameo artist, and that way we're working strategically with this alliance, because we know that they don't want to do the women thing, the female thing. So
very cool.
We'll work with them.
Yeah.
All right.
There are a series of upcoming events in June that I want to tell you guys about, but maybe I'll let you go first. Does anyone have community announcements, job openings, upcoming events, that sort of thing? Yeah. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Sam. I'm a designer at a company here called Farmlogs. Hiring designers. So if you're a designer, come talk to me afterwards. Also, we have a group we're starting. It's not really named, but we're gathering every once in a while to bring designers together. We do a bit of show and tell to show off the projects we're working on. And it's a good way to get to know other designers in the community. So I think it's A2design.org. You can sign up for the email list there. And talk to me after. I'll be around. Thanks.
Yeah, Scott.
So, two announcements, one quick, one not so quick. First announcement, Coffee House Coders. It's a group in Ann Arbor focused on, well, it's many places, but we have one in Ann Arbor that's focused on helping people learn how to code, just kind of collaborating with other coders, and also, just supporting entrepreneurship. And it's tomorrow, and it's on Meetup. So if you want to come by, come visit me or just visit the Meetup page, and we'll be tomorrow, I think, in Espresso Royale. So that's the quick one. The other kind of quick one is that at the end of the month, I'll be taking, I've been working on a job website for a while called TrueJob. And I'm taking a leave of absence starting at the end of the month to focus full-time on it, and I need some help. So if you're a Rails developer that wants to kind of help me out and kind of help get this platform off the ground and reach the top of Reddit, reach the top of Hacker News, I think this could be a big thing. Talk to me. Thanks.
We need an update on our financial model, so if anybody would like to help us, we've got a nice financial model that Jeff LeBrun built, but we need somebody who can help us.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Ananda, representing my startup Auto Scientist. This is our team. We are a team of computer science PhD students trying to solve data-related problems, data cleaning, data preparation, data science. If you have any needs around data, you can contact us. And we've had more than 4 years experience in data science, have had worked at Amazon, Nokia, Cisco, have patents in this space. You can reach out to me after the meetup or email at info@autoscientist.com. Auto as in AUTO, scientist.com. Thank you.
A good thing to do as well is to post a comment on the meetup page with contact information, and then that way people at the event and people who can find it as well. Yeah. Plus, one more hand. Yeah, go for it.
I'm Patrick. I organize the Ruby meetup here in town. We meet the last Tuesday of every month. Our upcoming meeting will be a week from tonight, the day after Memorial Day, and it'll be on Ruby Motion, which allows you to write native mobile apps using Ruby. So that should be pretty cool. We're on Meetup, so you can check us out there, or go to a2rb.org.
Will there be pizza?
Yeah, Mike from told me he'll be sponsoring the pizza.
Let's hear it for pizza. It's a real crowd favorite. Yeah. Well, I think we're going to take a pause in community announcements. We can have some after this presentation and ask some more of my own. So please welcome message blocks.
How you guys doing today? My name's Ernie Butcher. I'm an account manager at Message Blocks. This is Len Gogger, the CEO, and Drew Verlee. He's one of our Ruby backend engineers. We're here today to talk to you a little bit about Message Blocks and what we do.
So, Message Blocks. Before starting the company, I actually used to work for the Air National Guard out in Washington, D.C., planning, coordinating, and executing their conferences. I was sitting at my desk one day, totally frustrated with the entire process that I was going through, trying to manage communication between my team members, my facilities, my sponsors, my speakers, all these things before the event even occurred. And I said, what is out there that can help me solve this problem? So I went through this whole process of trying to find all these other systems, and I ended up in two places. Either trying to piecemeal everything together with something like Eventbrite, MailChimp, SurveyMonkey, Dropbox, Evernote, whatever the flavor of the month was in document management. On top of that, trying to organize information with the team internally, or spending tons and tons of money on these enterprise systems. So I thought to myself, there's got to be an easier way. What's out there to do it? Couldn't find it, so I quit my job, moved back to Michigan. These are some of the organizations that we've worked with already since starting the company. We're now at 9, soon to be 11 people, hopefully double that over the next 6 to 10 months, and just kind of continue from there. Did you want to go into? So again, the problem, how do you organize an event? So everyone in here obviously has attended an event. We're sitting in one right now, right? Who here has actually planned one? 90% of that work, the planning the event happens before it even starts. So you're talking about logistical stuff, information, speakers, sponsors, the whole gambit, organizing information, securing your facility, all of those things. And how are they doing it? Sponsor thing. Piecemealing the pieces together. So you're using any of these types of solutions, trying to coordinate it, trying to manage logins. You may be planning multiple events throughout the year. How are you organizing that information? The way they're doing it today is they're having weekly meetings. So it doesn't matter the digital solution that they're using in many cases, they're still exporting it into a document and passing it out at a weekly meeting or email. So message blocks, we focus on 6 types of people. And the way that we differentiate ourselves, because we focus on the logistics of the event, is looking at each one of these members, each one of these types, as part of the planning process. So events don't occur without planners, obviously. They don't occur without a place to hold it. They don't occur without people to support it and pay for it. They don't occur without, the vendors that are involved, AV, setups, linens, food, all of those things, or even your speakers, the reason people show up. So what Message Blocks does is puts that information together in one location. So before, like I mentioned, piecemealing things together are enterprise solutions. The way that Message Blocks differentiates is getting itself into the middle and allowing you to manage each one of these pieces, whether it's communication, documents, badge printing, campaigns, contacts, any of those things. You can do it all within the same system.
So another way that we expand this platform, is what we call it, is by our full suite of REST-based APIs. We can integrate into enterprise scale solutions such as Google, Hungerbox, Salesforce, Box, LinkedIn, Facebook. You name it, we can integrate with it via our API. So we can push and pull data from all of those data sources, allowing you to not only communicate and collaborate with all of those people at the event and the people coordinating, organizing, but we also can capture all of the information about the attendees. So data is money, right? So we'll talk a little bit about the event planning market. It's a huge market, it's underserved, and it's, like Glenn was saying, it's made up of a lot of small players that aren't really providing a good mid-market enterprise type solution without spending large amounts of money on that. So the event, $565 billion are spent on events each year. 5 million meetings and events are held, and 512 million people attend conferences every year. That's a lot of money in transactional value. This is where companies like Eventbrite, Reg Online, and those folks are making their way through this market just by ticket sales. So a component of Message Blocks is the registration and ticket sales for those events. The landscape is kind of all over the place, like Glenn was saying. Most of them are broken systems, ad hoc, putting pieces together to try to make a complex process easy for these event planners. Cvent, an enterprise scale solution, they close off their system. So while they might offer a large variety of features and functionality, but they close it off. So integrating with things like Google and Salesforce and Drop and whatnot, you're not going to get that type of functionality without paying additional. The manual process for software and event management is about $27 billion. So that ad hoc process, there's $27 billion sitting on the table for a company like Message Blocks with the right solution to come in and make a name for itself. Scoop it up, right?
Yeah.
So about $5 billion is spent on those enterprise type of solutions like Cvent, IMIS, and things like that. A little bit of our
bimodal distribution. So
Exactly.
again, this kind of shows where Message Blocks really sits in the middle. So you may be starting out with something like Eventbrite, but transition to there, Message Blocks.
Message Blocks being that data hub for all of those components. So not only can we replace that ad hoc system over here, but we can also integrate with these enterprise scale solutions that some larger organizations like Cobo Hall might have. So allowing us to be that registration portal, app management, things like that.
You guys are, okay, sweet.
Yeah, we're sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah. Questions?
Who does your hotel and airline and tour facilities to the events? Do you have a reservation booking engine?
So we're in the process right now of utilizing APIs from something like Sabre. So they have the entire gambit of API solutions in order to integrate with. It really is based on customers' needs.
Okay. I'd like to talk to you about that.
Great. Sure.
hardest thing, especially with a lot of these services, I feel, is the Goldilocks problem of sometimes you're looking for something with just the perfect set of features. And you look at the different plans, and Basic doesn't have almost anything, or not the things. But Enterprise or even Advanced like has too many. You'd really like to take like one thing from the Enterprise, one thing from the Basic, combine it together and have like that perfect porridge, if you will. How do you kind of solve that problem where like you have to like work off with COBOL, where they're obviously like doing the enterprise kind of stuff, but also work with the smaller companies that might just need things here and there, but don't necessarily fit into one plan versus the other?
The great thing about blocks and the flexibility with the APIs is you can use as much or as little as you want. You can use this for your document storage, and that's it, for your events. You can use this for your registration only. You know, you can use the agenda separately. The thing that's beautiful about it is once they start using the agenda, they notice how easy the registration is. Or they notice how easy it is to keep all their binder documents into one place. And then they just start using it more and more and more.
Yeah. As the CEO, did you actually create the software behind the idea, or did you have to sort of find a tech co-founder? And I mean, how did you go about actually creating that?
So I kind of went a little bit of a different route. So I contracted a lot of the work up front. I was lucky enough to meet a ton of incredibly smart people here in Michigan to do that. Some of them are sitting in this room right now, to actually accomplish the first beta. And then it was everything we do, every decision we make has to have revenue behind it, and just gone from there.
I guess how did you go about meeting these tech people? We got the idea, but you had a good idea. You had the idea of what you wanted to do, but how did you go about finding these different people that you got involved?
So it started out with just finding someone crazy enough to like sit with me and talk to me about it, you know, and then we started making a little bit of revenue, and then I was able to hire on someone part-time, and then I was able to hire that person full-time, and then add another person, and add another person, and add another person.
Was it a situation like this?
Absolutely.
Or
Yeah.
did you go, was it somebody from high school? Or?
My first hire, I actually met at the Detroit Ruby meetup.
What did you guys start, and maybe you kind of answered it there. Have you guys taken funding, or are you seeking funding?
So we've taken on some smaller angel investment, but we've really tried to keep everything internally within the team as far as growth. We are in a position now, and part of the reason that we're here is looking for people that are interested in joining our team because we're scaling out. We do have a larger institutional round that we're planning for the beginning of next year.
Can you talk about your SaaS revenue model? It sounds like you're a fully cloud-enabled environment that allows you to partition very precisely the user, amount of user usage and so on. You talk about licensing, subscription, SaaS models, how you're pricing that, where the break-evens are, and what you're going to do with data eventually.
So as we're collecting data and information, we're very careful not to like distribute it or give it out or sell it or any of that. We work with a lot of like state associations, national associations, so their information is extremely important to them. What we are doing with that data though is we are taking it back, consuming it, and giving them information back. So like best practices, you know, when should you plan your event? What are the good locations for you? Where can you find, you know, better deals on need dates, you know, and locations? As far as our revenue model, it's annual subscription and transactional revenue. So our three key things are team, data, money. So we allow the team to work better together. We're collecting data and information at any second, and we're allowing them to exchange money. So that doesn't matter if you're the speaker, the sponsor, the facility. We are in the middle of that transactional relationship.
So you do have to have a subscription before you're allowed to buy your little piece, even if only it once in a year. They only have one time.
Yeah, I mean, the organizations that we're speaking with, I mean, if you didn't charge them more, they would question the functionality of your product. So we have started to learn that more and more, and it seems as though the more we increase our price, the better of a conversation we're having with larger organizations.
This is one thing that really surprised me too, but could you speak quickly to how long it takes? What's the lead time to plan an event on the system? Is it like 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, a year? How long does it take to plan an annual event?
It can take any of those. I mean, for the most part, the organizations that we work with are planning multiple events a year. So it doesn't really matter. It can be 6 weeks. Some of them are planning like 2 years out. I mean, like the Olympics, they're planning it from the second that the other Olympics starts taking place.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
I left my very important announcements here. So some events coming up in June. Has anyone here ever interacted before with Girls Develop It Ann Arbor? Yeah, they are having their 1-year anniversary party on June 4th at the Forge. It's a fundraiser for the organization. They facilitate teaching mostly women, but really anyone in Ann Arbor how to develop, how to code. And so that is definitely something to check out. 2 days after that, on Saturday, June 6th, is the Ann Arbor Mini Maker Fair. This is an incredible event if you have ever been to it before. Basically, all sorts of nerds, hackers, artists, do-it-yourselfers come together and show off things that they have made over the past year. It's a free event. It's extremely family-friendly. It's the presenters are as polished as the Ann Arbor Public Library. And as rough as some guy who built a turret on the side of his house over the past year or something like that. So that's something also to check out.
And they're looking for volunteers too.
Oh yes, yeah, I have volunteered a couple of times. It's really fun. Basically, you get to interact with all the attendees and see the event. And
What is the date?
it is June 6th. So if you do a Google search for the Ann Arbor Mini Maker Fair, they have a whole website set up with details.
It's at WCC, right?
I believe so, but I'm not
Yes, it is
sure.
at WCC at, what is it, Lawrence Morris?
Right.
Yeah.
There'll be some outside stuff too.
Yeah. And then earlier I mentioned that A2NewTech is one of the sponsors of this event. They're having their annual meeting June 22nd at 7 p.m. at the Ann Arbor Art Center. And so if you're curious about the organization or looking to know more, that's an excellent opportunity to do so. Before I introduce our last presenter, were there any other community announcements? And do you want to real quick? It's your laptop. Yeah. Any other community announcements?
Russell Schindler, I'm from Traverse City, Michigan. I've been coming down to A2NewTech for about 1.5 years now, and I've discovered that I actually know more tech people in Ann Arbor than I do in Traverse City, and so I decided to start TC-NewTech in Traverse City, and so the first Tuesday of every month, actually 2 weeks from today, we're having our first TC-NewTech. We got some great speakers lined up, so if anyone is ever up in Northern Michigan, you want to do something like this in Traverse City, we are literally copying, thank you, Zach, this kind of format exactly. So
one thing that conflicts with the drink cup.
Does it?
Yes.
Well, I think it counts.
NewTech, we do have alcohol in Traverse City too. Anyway.
Yeah. And then another announcement.
Hi everyone, my name is Mike. I do work for Optimi. As Patrick mentioned, we are sponsoring the Ruby group. Thank you for the nice shout out about networking at a Ruby event, so please come out to that. Optimi is a boutique IT staffing firm. We work with startups up to Fortune 500 here in Ann Arbor and in Detroit. Currently staffing for Java, JavaScript, Ruby, as everybody is, and several other development positions. So if you're looking or know somebody who is, please let me know. Thanks a lot.
Any other community announcements? Yeah, go for it.
We're hiring.
Yes.
So we're looking for developers, front end, back end. We're also looking for UI, UX, visual design. Pretty much, if you have talent, come talk to me.
What do you use on the back end?
Ruby.
Rails. Also, we'll be at the Taste of Ann Arbor. We'll be at the registration desk, helping, what is it, the
Main Street Association
do registrations for check-in using MessageFlux. So if you want to see it in action, come on up and see us.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, I think I'm going to hand it over then to our last presenter. The company is Braxton.
Hi, my name is Robert Adams. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of a company called Braxton. We just moved into our new location in the Flatiron Building, I think it's called, right across from Zingerman. So you're welcome to stop by, bring sandwiches first. We started in 2013, and the idea was to come out with a messaging app that was HIPAA compliant. And we started to look at what that space looked like and what other people are out there. And we thought we were really proud of the fact that our stuff was AES 256. We were platform independent. The fact was that when we sent a message that we not only, it was encrypted, but we couldn't even read it. And then we started to do more market research and we pivoted. Actually, we expanded. We said, this is not just a need for text messages to doctors. This is the need for basically about anything we're putting in the cloud. So we came up with this idea of developing a multi-cross-platform robust infrastructure to help you manage your information going into the cloud and bringing it out. So the idea of me sending you some sort of communication directly from your device to a common telecommunicator carrier, he said, no, what really is going to happen in the future is that it's going to go to the cloud. Someone's going to manage it from the cloud and get it to where it needs to go. And so that's what we did with Brax.me. We're on Android and iOS now. Our first stable release will be out this week, so I invite you all to download it. And so we're out here trying to grow our user base, get feedback about the product in terms of how it works. I think some of the nice features about it is that what you see basically on your desktop is the exact same thing you're going to see on your phone, it's the exact same thing you're going to see on your tablet. But what it's going to allow you to do is that if you can send a chat message, you have confidence that that message is not only encrypted but private. Okay? And so if you know anything about encryption, it's basically there's some algorithm and there's some keys. Well, we generate a key for every single transaction that you do. And then once we give you and the recipient the keys, we throw away. So you could subpoena our record, our database, and all we can give them is encrypted data by design. And that goes for every chat, every email, every attachment, every photo, every file, every MP4. Okay? The other thing is that we did is we try to make sure that the product was versatile enough that we could configure it to work like anything that may be out there. So we're like Slack, but we're also like Jam. We're like Facebook, but we're also like Whisper. But we're also like Strings. So if you want to send a message and destroy it immediately and have it disappear from the recipient's phone, we can do that without a trace bin. You know, if you want to send a file and have them be able to have a link they can post, we can do that. If you want to have a view in Facebook, where you can show a link in Facebook and then report it back to our e-room, we can do that as well. So that's the concept. If there's any questions about how we work or how our architecture, particularly the encryption works, I'll be willing to entertain those questions now.
Thank you.
Robert, what's your background?
Me?
Uh-huh.
I'm a Wolverine. I'm originally from Atlanta, so I came here many years ago and did some things in the corporate space, and me and my partner hooked up about 2-3 years ago and started this concept. I'm a mechanical engineer, is that what you're getting at?
Just kidding.
How do you get on the NSA?
Not my problem. You know, we spend a lot of time, particularly with our JV partners, talking about that subject. You know, if you look at the Patriot Act, there's a lot of debate about renewing it, particularly under Section 215. And what the courts have decided is that there's no inherent right for privacy related to business records. I'm not an attorney, so this is my understanding of it. Well, because we don't keep that sort of metadata, the only data I can tell you is that you have an account and how much storage you use. That's it. So legally, the only thing the courts can really compel me to do is to give me that. And so I don't build any, I have no reason to kind of look at what you do. I'm not selling advertising. I'm not building a behavioral profile. So that's how we get around the NSA.
Can you talk about who your ideal user is and how you plan to get to them?
Yeah, we defined our market. We looked at it 3 ways. We looked at C2C, B2C, and B2B. You know, so we really don't have, for each of those different segments, you got a different application. One of the things they'll be launching in the fall is our companion product. And so for people who have a need for customer service and interface with the general community and have a need to share and exchange data back and forth, say people like in the military with soldiers, you can receive your deployment orders in the same way you receive your pay stub. The IRS, you want to interact with your constituency and be able to exchange, you know, secure documents other than send them in the mail. So you can look at that, and we've identified over 200 different sort of segments, if you will. And so we kind of, you know, racked and stacked them and picked out a half a dozen to kind of work throughout the summer as we move along there. So, but basically, anyone who has a need to share information securely and privately, which I think about anybody does, that's our target audience.
What were some of the hurdles that you had to go through in order to become HIPAA compliant?
The biggest issue for us was that we went way past the HIPAA compliance standard. You know, when we went AES 256, which was a block cipher with a 256-bit key. That was sufficient. And then when we threw away the keys, that was like gravy, you know. So I don't think there's a standard out there you can name that we can't meet in terms of being compliant related to the encryption.
Yes, I've heard this sort of thing referred to before as a host-proof service, in that you, the person that's hosting the data, doesn't have access to it.
Yes.
One of the drawbacks of many host-proof services is that you can't do things like search them, particularly for communication. You know, the way I use Gmail is I send my search query, they go through all my data, and they send back the search results. Is there any sort of way to search through?
That was a very difficult problem for us. We think one of the things that you see up there is what we call the rooms. And we create tags, and I'll tell you this, the way we solved it is that there was some hashing involved. Okay. But I do have full search capabilities, and anything you put in terms of your files or your rooms, yes, I did. But I don't know what they are. In terms of, no, I don't look at your data. I can't see your data, but I can search in the data.
So I know Telegram, which is kind of like a paid service, has gotten kind of a lot of flack lately because we've open sourced some pieces of their security, but not others. And so if you couldn't really know what kind of security they implemented, you know, they could say all day that they were secure and you wouldn't be able to prove it. How can you prove it and still be a closed system?
Good question. I have to think about that. Any other questions? Or?
I have a question. So how are you getting the keys to the users, the Rando, the AES key that you create? How are you transporting that?
There's a native app on your phone, for example. So what happens is that you take your data, it's encrypted on the fly, and then once that happens, we send you a message back with your key, we send it to the recipient, and then we get rid of them. And we don't recycle the keys. That's essentially the way it works. Does that make sense? Is it all right?
No, so what are you using? What I'm saying is, so you're creating, the app creates two keys, one for encrypting the data from me to you, another to encrypt it from you to whoever I'm sending a message to?
Not quite. There's two keys involved. One for you, one for the receiver. We generate the keys, we give them the keys, and then we destroy them. We don't reuse keys.
How do you give the key to a person, the recipient?
Every time you generate a transaction, there's a query to go into one of my servers. It generates a key, it sends it back to you.
But I mean, what are you using to transmit the key? Are you sending the key in plain text?
No. It's like we use TTL at all.
TTLs?
Yes.
Cool, thank you so much. So like I mentioned earlier, that concludes our formal programming, but please stick around if you have other questions for other presenters. I saw a hand though.
I understand this question actually for all the presenters except possibly Rudder. Where does the name come from? And Brax.me, messages, blocks, just what was your thinking behind it? And
I'm gonna challenge you to, after the meeting,
go around
find them and ask them.
All right.
Yeah, I want to make a question.
Old got its name.
You have to come and find me after the event and ask.
Pizza House.
Yeah, is anyone interested in going to Pizza House in like 20, 30 minutes for drinks or pizza? All right, some of us might be headed over, so keep an eye out for that crowd. Thank you everyone so much for coming.